Good evening. Let us be still a moment and acknowledge why we have gathered. The purpose of our work this week is the development of spiritual consciousness, not a further collection of ideas, not the excitement of a new phrase or a novel technique, but the quiet proving of the presence through practice. Be still and know that I am God. In that sentence, the entire curriculum is hidden. Stillness is our method. Knowing is our result. And God, the I Am, is the subject and the actor. When I speak of spiritual consciousness, I mean precisely the ability to see that which is invisible to sight, to hear that which is inaudible to the ear, to feel that which cannot be touched by the hand. That ability is not manufactured in the brain. It is awakened by grace as we create the conditions for its flowering. It is the mind of Christ in you, the sole faculty by which Jesus could look upon a few loaves and fishes and perceive sufficiency, not scarcity. How did he feed the multitude? By the capacity to discern the presence of food where the senses testified to want. How did he give sight to the blind? By beholding sight itself, the light that shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. Our work is not to argue with sense testimony. Oh no, our work is to develop that inner sight that renders argument unnecessary. Therefore, stop seeking. For 7 days, let us cease the outer chase, the next book, the next counsel, the next practitioner at the end of a wire, and turn to the indwelling I Am. The kingdom of God is within you. If that is truth, and it is, then running to and fro is a confession that we have not trusted the withinness. This is not a scolding. It is an emancipation order. I can of my own self do nothing. Will you consent to that? But the Father within me, he doeth the works. From this moment on, you will test this, not by dramatic gestures, but by small, faithful turnings, a breath, a glance within, a whispered acknowledgement. Here I am, Father. I will tell you a story. A shopkeeper, quiet and unremarkable, once sat in the back of his little store when the register was empty and fear noisy. He had written letters, tried bargains, pressed upon acquaintances. The striving multiplied, and the peace dissolved. In a moment of weariness, he did no more seeking. He closed his eyes and silently pondered. I and my Father are one. All that the Father hath is mine. He stayed there 3 minutes, not asking, simply consenting to oneness. A woman he had forgotten entered to return a borrowed item, and in returning, brought a friend who became his best customer. He did not cause it. He did not engineer it. He witnessed grace in motion and learned that supply is presence unfolding, not merchandise moving. That was a micro win, a token of the invisible made visible by inner acknowledgement. So here is our promise and our path. Daily micro wins, not as goals to boast of, but as breadcrumbs leading us into a transition. Jesus said, if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. If the personal sense of I, the anxious planner, the fearful manager, does not go away, the Comforter cannot speak. Over these 7 days, the personal will begin to recede, and truth will begin to utter itself. You will find that the prayer prays, the thought thinks, the love loves, and you stand as witness. A moment of uncaused peace where there was agitation, a release from a compulsion, a word that is given you in the self-same hour. Do not clutch at these. Note them as evidences that the inner eye is opening. We will map the practice simply as we go, morning, hourly, evening so that no one is left to guess. But we begin now with our basic work, acknowledging the presence and refusing to seek it where it is not. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. For 7 days we are not learning more, we are verifying. This is a tender discipline. It will ask of you no strain, only constancy. Turn, acknowledge, rest. And in that turning, you will discover that the I am has been nearer than breathing, closer than hands and feet, waiting not for your words, but for your consent. Now let us take the lid off the central truth, without which the rest becomes mere routine. I and my Father are one, not two trying to agree, not a distant deity and a pleading mortal, but oneness, indivisible, inseparable, immediate. As the wave is one with the ocean, so you are one with the source. The wave does not look out upon the sea as if to attract it, to coax it nearer, or to qualify for its favor. The wave is the ocean in that form. All the power, all the depth, all the life of the ocean stands behind that single crest, not by merit, but by nature. So with you, all that the Father hath is mine. This is not a motto to embroider. It is a reality to be realized. We are not attaching ourselves to God. We are awakening to the fact that our being never was detached. How, then, do we work this week? Not to get God to come, oh no, but to acknowledge what is in him we live and move and have our being. Where would you summon the presence from if you already live in it? Where will you travel to meet omnipresence? Practice, rightly understood, is the quiet art of consent, the steady saying yes to what eternally is. God as life, God as mind, God as substance, God as law. When Jesus stood before lack, before blindness, before death itself, he did not try to bring God to the scene. He bore witness to the isness, the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. That indwelling is the Comforter. If I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. What must go away? The personal sense of I, the anxious arranger, the fearful manager. What comes? The Christ, the very life center that thinks its thoughts as your thoughts, loves its love as your love, and supplies its sufficiency as your daily bread. Consider again the wave. It cannot be more ocean by struggling. It can only misidentify itself and fear the shore. The moment it remembers, I am the ocean as this wave, its rising and falling take on majesty. You are not a fragment trying to become whole. You are the fullness finding expression as you. To confess, I can, of mine own self, do nothing, is not to fall into weakness. It is to step into the only strength there is. For the sentence continues, the Father within me, he doeth the works. And therefore, lo, I am with you always. Not sometimes, not when you are at your best, but always, when the ledger is read, when the body is tired, when the mind is scattered. The Comforter within is not a guest. It is the homemaker of your consciousness, establishing peace, governing order, revealing supply as presence in motion. What, then, is the implication for our 7 days? We will not seek to attract health, money, time, or opportunity as if they were outside commodities. We will not wrestle with effects, polish appearances, or bargain with shadows. We will practice acknowledgement. Here, where I am, Here is mind one, mind thinking itself as clarity, guidance, and right action. Here is life one, life vital, self-renewing, fearless. Here is substance one, substance appearing as bread on the table, strength in the limb, wisdom in the hour, Christ in you, the hope of glory. Not Christ in a book, not Christ in a building, Christ in you. Let this become our inner refrain whenever the senses testify to absence. Where there seems to be no answer, the answer is present. Where there seems to be no provision, the provider is at hand. Where there seems to be no time, eternity is governing sequence and schedule. We do not deny what the senses report. We outsee it. We look through it, and behold what is. The light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. If darkness cannot grasp the light, it cannot extinguish it. Your acknowledgement is the opening by which that light announces itself in form. So in the morning, and in the little hourly pauses, and in the evening, we are not attempting to manufacture holiness. We are remembering our lineage. We are the ocean as a wave. We are the branch abiding in the vine, and without me ye can do nothing. Yet in the abiding, sap flows, fruit appears, and there is no strain in the bearing. This is the gentleness of our rule of life, to stop asking the sun to rise and simply open the shutters. As we do, you will notice a holy ease thoughts given in the self-same hour. Adjustments made without your engineering, a sufficiency that arrives as if on silent feet. Mark it well. This is not reward. This is revelation. It is truth beginning to utter itself because you have ceased to speak over it. Therefore, let us rest in the fact before we seek the fact. Be still and know that I am God. Not will be, I am. Not out there, here. Not for the few, for all, and therefore for you. And as we proceed, keep this under your breath. All that the Father hath is mine, not to possess, but to express. In that recognition, striving bows, grace governs, and the weak becomes approving of what has forever been. Let us make this very simple, very gentle, and very exact, because a simple daily rhythm creates the conditions by which grace becomes evident. We are not adding religious chores. Oh no, we are opening the shutters 3 times a day and in between glancing again at the light so that we do not forget it is shining. Morning, hourly, evening, these become the rails upon which the train of your attention runs. And when attention runs on God, order appears, provision appears, wisdom appears, not as rewards, but as revelations. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. In the morning, before the feet touch the floor, before the first calendar thought, before you call to mind the names and needs of the day, turn within. Let the first awareness be presence, not problem. Whisper if you like, but mean it. Father, reveal thyself. I can of my own self do nothing. Then be still for a minute or two, not asking for things, not planning outcomes, consenting. Let I and my Father are one. Rise from statement to state. Let all that the Father hath is mine be recognized as inheritance to be expressed, not possessions to be gripped. If stray thoughts flutter, do not chase them. Return softly to thy kingdom come. This is not the time to tell God your agenda. It is the time to yield to God's. Lo, I am with you always, as true at the edge of the bed as it was on Galilee's shore. And to begin from that always is to let the day be authored from within. Then, hourly. Give the inner eye its exercise. Set no alarm if that burdens you, but each time you notice a clock, a doorway, a phone in your hand, let 30 seconds belong to God. Close the door of the senses for that half minute and behold the invisible where appearances are loud. If the desk is crowded, acknowledge one mind-governing sequence. If the body twinges, acknowledge one life animating every function. If a face before you is fearful, acknowledge the Christ within them, within you, the very light that shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. You are not fixing anything in those intervals. You are beholding. Pray without ceasing does not mean words all day. It means frequent returns to the fact. These brief pauses are the breath of the soul. They keep you from suffocating in appearances, and they train you to see that which is not seen by the eye. In the evening, let thanksgiving gather the whole day into God. With every morsel, give thanks, not as etiquette, but as recognition that supply is presence in motion. Give us this day our daily bread, and then behold that the day did not feed you by barter alone. It fed you by grace. Let the last thoughts not be of errors to correct or victories to frame, but of presence to acknowledge. Name quietly a few moments in which you became aware of guidance, of an easing, of a word given in the selfsame hour, and thank the giver, not the gift. Where you stumbled, thank the light for revealing the stone and let it go. In that gratitude, take no thought becomes lived. Anxious management can rest, because you are seeing that the Father knoweth you have need of these things. 2 guardrails protect this rule of life. First, never refuse a call. From this moment on, when need knocks your own or another's, do not say, I am not ready. Oh no, say inwardly, I of mine own self can do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works, and answer from silence. Take a half minute, let the personal I go away so the Comforter may come, and then do what is before you to do. Freely ye have received, freely give. The call is not to your human cleverness. It is to the Christ action announcing itself where it appears to be required. Second, keep the mind stayed, not by force, not by length, but by fidelity and small returns. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stay it often. When you forget, begin again. When you remember, be still. The staying is the mothering of your day. It gathers your scattered thoughts. It softens your edges. It makes you usable. In such a rhythm, truth begins to utter itself, and you will find that grace, having been given a cleared path, walks in as naturally as dawn follows night. This first day is not for doing. It is for being rightly identified. Realization precedes demonstration. If you try to heal, supply, or guide without the inner fact of who and what lives as you, you will build Babel with good intentions. So on waking, before the feet touch the floor, give 3 gentle breaths to God. On the first breath, say within, I and the Father are one. On the second, all that the Father hath is mine. On the third, all that the Father is, I am as expression. Then be still, not to bargain, not to beg, oh no, to consent. Let the words sink from the lips of thought down into the marrow of awareness. Be content with 1 minute, if that is what you have. A minute of truth is a mighty plow. Now, hold the picture we have used, not as poetry, but as ontology. You are the wave of the ocean of life, inseparable, supplied, moved by the deep. The wave does not invent its motion. It yields to the ocean's will. The wave does not warehouse water. It is water in form. The wave does not reason its way to rhythm. The tide carries it. As the Father hath life in himself, so hath he given to the Son to have life in himself. This morning, take that as identity. I am not a private mind trying to think holy thoughts. One mind is thinking as me. I am not a frail life trying to secure extension. One life is animating this form and renewing this day. I am not a beggar outside a treasury. One substance is unfolding as bread, opportunity, strength. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. Let it rest there a moment. Let the sense of personal doer crack and flake away. Then, as you rise, do not look for fireworks. Look for a thin thread of peace. Do you feel a quieter step to the kitchen? Is the first email met with a soft inward glance rather than a quickened pulse? Does a line of scripture brush your awareness as you reach for the cup? Thy word is a lamp unto my feet. Honor that thread. That is presence making itself known, not as a thunderclap, but as the still small voice that preceded Elijah's courage. If there is no thread you can name, be untroubled. Your work is the acknowledgement. The flowering is in God's keeping. Through the day, revisit this identity in brief pauses, not to argue, not to fix, merely to see. If you notice a worry begin to speak, answer with the fact of oneness, and then turn inwardly to silence. The Father within me, he doeth the works. If a colleague's face carries strain, behold, the Christ there is here. We are waves upon one ocean. If a task feels too large, remember that the branch bears fruit by abiding, not by clenching. Without me, he can do nothing, but in me, flow. And because we are proving, not merely admiring, keep a small page or notebook near. This is your day one homework. Each time you acknowledge the presence, those 3 breaths at waking, a half-minute pause before a call, a silent thank you. Father, before the door opens, make a simple mark or jot the briefest phrase. And beside it, note any small harmony that follows. A timing that saves you 5 minutes. A softened word that averts a tangle. A breath that steadies the hand. Do not try to string cause and effect. Do not attempt to fix anything through this record. You are not building a scrapbook of wonders. You are training the inner eye to behold the invisible in the midst of the visible. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. The journal is only a witness that you did and that he did. If, at day's end, your page shows 3 acknowledgments and 1 thin thread of peace, rejoice, grace has found a window. If it shows 20 and you cannot trace a single result, rejoice still, for seed is hidden before it is seen. Our business today is identity. Tomorrow will have its own assignments. But today we stand upon the rock. I and my Father are one. From that rock, striving begins to fall silent, and truth prepares to utter itself. Today we cultivate the faculty that sees what eyes cannot. The work is not heavy, it is frequent. Each hour, yes, as often as the clock or a doorway or the lifting of your phone reminds you, turn within and be still for 60 seconds. Do not ask for a change in the outer. Ask to behold the inner that is already here. Father, what is here that eyes cannot see? Then wait with a soft, receptive attention. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. In that single minute, You are stepping out of reaction and into recognition. You are letting the personal I go away so the comforter can come in view. You will find this most needed precisely where the senses shout: in traffic, when the red lights parade themselves as delay. Let the eyes rest on the road while the heart turns. In him we live and move and have our being. What is present here beyond horns and hurry? Order is here. Timing is here. The same mind that set Orion in place governs the flow of this highway. In that beholding, shoulders lower, and more than once you will see the lane open without your forcing, or the delay reveal itself as protection rather than interference. The light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. Darkness cannot comprehend nor control the light you are acknowledging. At the desk, when the inbox swells and names seem to demand fragments of you, give 1 minute to the invisible. Do not sort the mail in your head. Do not bargain with the clock. Ask, Father, what is here that eyes cannot see? One mind is here. One action, one sequence, one sufficiency. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. In that minute of staying, a clear next step arranges itself. A sentence writes itself. One task emerges as the thread to pull, and often what seemed so urgent recedes to its true size without your wrestling. In a conversation where tension has crept in and faces are set, take the inner hand of God for 60 seconds. You need not leave the room. You need only leave the level of reaction. Having eyes, see ye not? Oh, but we will see. What is here that eyes cannot see? The Christ is here, the only identity of you and of the one before you. In that beholding, the tone loosens, a listening opens, and a word is given you in the self-same hour that dissolves the knot. You did not manage a technique. You recognize the presence. This is not fantasy. It is the method Jesus employed. How were the loaves multiplied? By perceiving the presence of food where lack announced itself. He did not consult the purse or argue with arithmetic. He looked through scarcity and beheld substance itself. And then he looked up to heaven and blessed and brake. In our 60 seconds, we too look up within and bless. The breaking and the distribution will follow, but the miracle is the seeing. Supply as presence, not as quantity. Make it practical. Set a gentle chime if you like, or let common moments be your summons, entering a room, laying a hand on a doorknob, hearing your name called. Each time, ask quietly, Father, what is here that eyes cannot see? Then be silent. No pleading, no pushing consent. End with a simple, thank you, Father, and return to the scene as one who has seen. And because we are proving, not admiring, record a single micro win today. Choose one pause, just one, in which fear softened or clarity arrived. Write it in your notebook with a line or two. 12 pause before replying. Anger cooled, answer given. Do not ascribe cause and effect. Bear witness. We look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. And as you train this looking with brief, faithful returns, you will notice that the unseen makes itself known as order, grace, and sufficiency in the very places that shouted lack. Let this be our day too. Frequent, gentle pauses that replace reaction with recognition. We do not fix appearances, we behold reality. We do not muscle outcomes, we acknowledge I am. And hour by hour, truth begins to utter itself where once we spoke over it. Today, we bring our practice to the table, to the cup, to the pavements beneath our feet. With every bite, every sip, every step, give thanks not to get more, oh no, but to witness source, expressing as enough where appearance tries to shout not enough. Give us this day our daily bread. Notice, it does not say this week's hoard nor tomorrow's anxiety. It says this day, and the prayer is thanksgiving in seed form. When Jesus faced the few loaves, he did not petition a distant storehouse. He looked up to heaven and blessed and brake. The blessing was the seeing. Let your blessing be your seeing. Substance as presence, not as tally. Life as I am, not as calories or coins. Here is our simple work for day 3. Each time food touches your hand, pause the briefest breath and say within, thank you, Father, not as etiquette, but as recognition that what feeds you is presence in motion. Each time you raise a cup, acknowledge, thou art my supply. Do not thank the object as if it were your source. Behold the source appearing as this object. When you set your foot down to cross a threshold or step from car to curb, whisper, in him we live and move and have our being, and let the step become a sacrament of reliance. You are not invoking a favor. You are consenting to a fact. Gratitude shifts the locus of supply from the outer to the inner, from objects to presence. And in that shift, anxious management begins to tire of itself and lies down. We have a biblical word for this rhythm, manna. In the wilderness, the instruction was plain gather for the day. He that gathered much had nothing over, and he that gathered little had no lack. When they tried to store it up against imagined tomorrow, it bred worms. What is the teaching? Not frugality nor improvidence. It is manna logic. Today's grace for today, discovered in thanksgiving, not in fear's hoarding. As you practice this with every morsel, you are training your awareness to trust that supply is presence unfolding now as now's sufficiency. Tomorrow will have tomorrow's presence, and when it is tomorrow, you will be there with God, and God will be there as you. Extend this to your errands and your calendar. Let shopping be sacrament. Before you enter the market or click add to cart, be still for a half minute. Father, order my steps. Do not argue with prices or drive a bargain with lack. Look up and bless. Then walk the aisles with a quiet ear, not to a list engraved in fear, but to the comforter within. You will often find that an item you must have reveals itself as not now, or a better provision meets you one shelf down, or a hand reaches for the very thing and you share a word that opens a door you did not know you needed. If something is not present, do not strain. Manna does not come early to panic. Let not now be as sacred as now, and you will see that what truly belongs to today will not be withheld. Treat your schedule in the same spirit. Before opening the day's tasks, lift the inner glance. Thy will be done. Direct my paths. Then notice what rises first. Do that in peace and allow the next to present itself. This is not laziness. It is governance. Take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink. Your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things. Thought here means anxious self-management. Release it. The Father within orders the sequence better than your fear can. You will discover that some items fall away without loss. Some merge, and some are done in half the time because one mind is doing them. And because we are proving not admiring. Choose one provision today that arrives without your planning and name it as grace. Perhaps a colleague covers a task you fretted over. Perhaps a discount appears at the register. Perhaps the very ingredient you lacked is offered by a neighbor. Perhaps the traffic you dreaded dissolves and you arrive before time. Do not call it accident. Write a single line in your notebook. 3:10 went for bread. Store out. Neighbor knocked with a loaf. Not to boast, not to draw lines of cause, but to bear witness that thanksgiving unveils presence in motion. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. If, as you bless each morsel, a hush settles over appetite, let it be. If, as you bless your steps, a lighter cadence carries you through the afternoon, observe it. If the list loosens its grip and the day arranges itself without strain, rejoice, and if nothing outwardly notable occurs, rejoice still, for the worm that breeds in anxious storage has been refused lodging. I can of mine own self do nothing, and yet as you bless, you will see that the Father within me, he doeth the works of feeding, guiding, and arranging. This is day 3, thanksgiving as vision. In such seeing, striving gives way to grace, and truth begins to utter itself under your very breath. Today our work turns outward only so far as to meet need, and even then not as beggars at a distant gate, but as witnesses to the Christ that is at hand. We must speak with historical honesty. The day is passing when you can count on sending a telegram or placing a late-night call to a practitioner or a silent unity desk to do for you what you have not yet allowed to mature within yourself. Those services had their holy place. Many of us stand here because someone else held the line of truth when we could not. But hear me. A constant reliance on another's capacity is, after the first assist, a denial of the Christ in you. As long as you depend on my spiritual qualities, you postpone their birth in your own consciousness. We are not cutting ourselves off from help. Oh no. We are growing up into him in all things, so that from this moment on, when the call comes, you answer. Never refuse a call. From this day, receive every request. Your child's fever, your colleague's panic, your own midnight fear as a divine appointment. The Christ is summoning the Christ in you to bear witness. Do not rush to words. Do not counsel. Do not quote. First, pause and turn within. Let the personal I go away that the Comforter may come into view. 3 gentle breaths will do it. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me, he doeth the works. Peace, be still, and be still. Not a second-hand stillness, not a technique of calm. Be still and know that I am God. You are not to fix a person, body, job, or ledger. You are to behold reality where sense testimony is loud. So when the message arrives, can you pray? He is burning with fever. Lay the phone down a moment and turn to the invisible. Do not begin to argue with symptoms. Acknowledge one. Life, indivisible, whole, the same yesterday, today, and forever. The life that Jesus revealed when he arose and rebuked the wind and said unto the sea, Peace, be still. And there was a great calm. Let that peace register in you first. Consent to it. If words are given in the selfsame hour, use them. If not, keep silence and rest in the knowing. The Father within is the doer. This is our rule for outward ministry. Do not counsel. Behold, Let the Christ in you behold the Christ in the one before you. Let one mind disclose the next step. If an action is required, it will present itself without strain, and it will carry peace as its proof. If an answer is to be sent, it will arrive clothed in gentleness and authority, not in urgency or the need to persuade. Take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour. To take no thought is not negligence. It is obedience to grace. In that obedience, the works appear, and you will know you have not done them. Make this practical now. Today you will meet at least one situation from silence. Perhaps a text arrives, sharp and accusing. The first impulse is to explain, to defend. Instead, close the inner door for 60 seconds. Say within, Father, what is here that eyes cannot see? One mind is here. One love is here. Peace, be still. When you open your eyes, you may discover that the answer you were about to send has no breath of life in it. Another rises shorter, kinder, truer, or none at all, and silence itself becomes your reply for the hour. Frequently you will see the heat go out of the exchange, a conciliatory message follow, or a meeting be rearranged at just the right time. Do not claim the credit. Not unto us, O Lord, not unto us, but unto thy name give glory. Or a worry climbs onto your chest at 2 a.m, bargaining for your attention. Instead of rehearsing outcomes, sit up and make room for the Comforter. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me, he doeth the works. Peace, be still. Rest there. Let thought run down like a clock and stop. In that hush, more than once you will find the body slacken, breath deepen, and the fear, lacking your management, fade into the night. Often by morning, the crisis has dissolved or revealed its simple resolution. Do not call it luck. Call it grace recognized. And because we are proving, not admiring, bear witness in your notebook to one such response today. A single line is enough. 140p. M angry email. Pause to behold. Replied softly. Apology returned. Not to make yourself a practitioner in a week, but to train this heart to answer from God rather than from self. So here again the charge that will shepherd this day. Never refuse a call. When it comes, do not stand up in your personality. Let the personal I go away. Or as the Master said, if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. Then answer from silence. You will discover that answering need from inner stillness is the most powerful affirmation you can make. The Christ is the present and adequate door. When you live so, reliance shifts to response, striving surrenders to grace, and truth begins to utter itself right where the world imagines it needs you most. Day 5 is the quiet heart of our week, the hollow reed through which the music may finally play. Up to now we have acknowledged, paused, blessed, and answered from silence. Today we consent to a deeper relinquishment, the personal sense of doer stepping aside so that the doer reveals himself. Hear it plainly and do not soften it with sentiment. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me, he doeth the works. Emptiness is not lack. It is the open space where the Comforter makes utterance. We are not adding a technique to our list. Oh no, we are placing the list itself on the altar and letting the flame of God have its way with it. Twice today in the morning and again in the late afternoon or evening, give 5 minutes to holy uselessness. Go into your inner closet. Shut the door of the senses. Sit upright if you can, feet at rest, hands quiet. Make the simplest offering a soul can make. Availability. Speak, for thy servant heareth. Then be still. No affirmations now. No verses marching across the mind like soldiers. No attempts at conjuring a spiritual temperature. When thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. Use not vain repetitions. These minutes are not for saying. They are for consenting. If thoughts come, and they will let them pass as birds over a field, do not reach up to catch one. If plans present themselves, tip your hat and let them go by. If you catch yourself steering, gently release the wheel and return to the offering. Speak, Lord, I am here. If restlessness stirs, call it welcome. If drowsiness leans against your shoulder, neither invite it to settle nor push it away. Our posture is humility, and humility is not a slump, it is a doorway. Not my will, but thine be done. Let that be the tone of the whole 5 minutes. If a phrase seeks to gather in your mouth, do not clutch it. Let it rest in the heart where God hears. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. The earth of your opinions, the earth of yesterday's answers, the earth of self-judgment, let it keep silence. Be still and know that I am God. We are not hunting an experience. We are yielding to a presence that is ceaseless, whether or not the senses applaud. You may wonder, what am I doing here? Oh, but that is the point you are not doing. If I go not away, the Comforter will not come to you. This 5 minutes is the going away of the personal I, not forever, but for long enough that the Comforter may step to the fore and show himself as the life of you. Do not try to capture him with the net of the mind. He is not a prize to be kept. He is the sea in which the net disappears. In the second sitting sometime, when the hum of the day is softened or just before the evening tasks begin, return to your inner room and offer the same availability. 5 minutes only. If the clock is a tyrant to you, turn it away. If it is a friend, set it gently and forget it. Again, no striving, no method. Speak, for thy servant heareth. Consent to the already present kingdom. Somewhere in the middle you may find a warmth rising at the center, as if a small lamp were being lit behind the breastbone. Or a phrase may arrive, not composed, but given as tender as fear not. It is I. Or as plain as wait. Or nothing may appear but a widening quiet that needs no explanation. These are not trophies. Do not chase them. Do not say, I must feel that again at 4 o'clock. Let each manifestation be what it is. The Comforter's touch, not your accomplishment. When the minutes close, write a single line in your notebook. 2:15 p.m., 5 minutes, warmth rose, stilled. That is enough. Bear witness without analyzing. Between these sittings, notice how the emptiness works when you rise. Do decisions that were tight feel looser, as if space had entered them? Does a conversation that troubled you sit down in your chest and grow quiet without your working on it? In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Quietness does not increase your leverage. It changes your source. Confidence does not boost your courage. It removes the need to be brave because the burden of outcome has shifted to God. You may find yourself writing the difficult note in 10 simple words, where yesterday you drafted 20 sentences of defense. You may find that the errand you pressed to finish melts from the list without loss, or that the person you meant to persuade calls you with the very answer you were going to manufacture. Do not claim authorship. Do not even claim technique. Say only, the Father within me, he doeth the works. And let gratitude gather. Today's emptiness is a cup turned upright. We have spent years filling and refilling the cup with holy ideas. Now we discover that the cupbearer himself is present, and the cup must be empty if it is to receive him. Not accumulation, but relinquishment. Not more light bulbs, but a cleared line to the power. The ocean does not ask the wave to push. It asks the wave to yield. Without me, ye can do nothing. Oh no, that is not condemnation. It is liberation. Without me, without the living presence acknowledged and consented to, you must strain even in spiritual work. With me, with the Comforter free to utter himself, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Understand, too, that emptiness is a womb, not a void. Seed germinates in dark soil. Stars appear most when the night drops its veil. Words are given you in that same hour when your own tongue has grown quiet enough to hear them arriving. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. Still waters do not merely refresh, they reflect. The face of God is mirrored in a lake that has ceased its churning. Let your 5 minutes be that lake. If wind ruffles it, do not fight the wind. Simply wait, and the surface will smooth. When it does, do not stare to see what appears. Keep the consent soft and the gaze inward. The reflection will find you. Make one more practical promise to yourself for this day. Never refuse the call to be empty. When agitation spikes at noon, when an email arrives heavy with urgency, when appetite clamors to solve its own future, step aside inwardly for 30 seconds and remember the day's vow. I can of my own self do nothing. Speak, Lord. And if a word is given, speak it. If a step is given, take it. If nothing is given, wait. Waiting here is not delay, it is obedience. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. And because we are proving, not admiring, claim your micro-win humbly. Do not make it large. Choose one unforced ease, a sentence that arrived whole, an inner warmth that quietly wrapped a fear, a decision that simplified itself while you sat in availability and mark it down as the Comforter's touch. Not to hoard experiences, not to test God, but to honor the secret reward of the closet. Day 5 is the consent to be nothing in ourselves and everything as expression. In such emptiness, striving lays down its tools. Grace walks in unopposed, and truth, no longer pushed from our lips, begins to utter itself. Day 6 is the walk that follows yesterday's stillness. The cup we turned upright will not remain empty for long. It is filled by a quiet governance, a rhythm not of our planning, but of presence. Hear this kindly and plainly. Oh no, no disease, germ or calendar has jurisdiction over the I am presence. I and my Father are one. If that is true, then the so-called powers that shout for your allegiance, symptoms that frighten, bills that glare, clocks that bark, are not authorities. They are appearances awaiting recognition of the only authority. My times are in thy hand. Let that be our banner today. Health, supply, and time under God, not under fear. We begin in the morning not by making a schedule, but by acknowledging a governor. Before you touch the list, place your day in the Father's care. Order my steps in thy word. Then instead of managing 10 things with hunted eyes, choose a single task and take no thought for its logistics. Do not delay the work. Simply step aside inwardly. Father, you are the doer. Arrange the timing, the persons, the provision. Then proceed gently. More often than not, you will see emails arrive at just the cadence required. A colleague become free at the precise half hour. A missing resource appear without your chasing. You did not engineer it. You recognize the hand that orders. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Let time take its rightful seat. Time is not your master. It is a servant of grace. The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So with hours and calendars. When a deadline looms and the heart climbs into the throat, practice our rule. Take no thought, not indifference, obedience. Close the inner door for 60 seconds and say, my times are in thy hand. Then take the one step that presents itself. If the project is truly yours to carry today, you will find that minutes widen like loaves. If it is not today's manna, life will arrange an honest extension or a clean redirection. You will not need to force it. Living by grace is not laziness. It is the end of tyranny. Now to the body. Let us dethrone ownership and restore instrument. This body is not a self with demands. It is a faithful instrument of the one life. In him we live and move and have our being. Throughout this day, listen inwardly for the quiet nudge. Rest now, rise now, water now, walk now, tenderness here, a simple food there. Obey softly. This is not a program. It is prayer in motion. When the system cries for a stimulant, ask first, what is the gentler gift? When fatigue throws its net, be still. Is this sleep or is this breath? If a knot tightens across the shoulders, take 3 minutes and let the head bow. I can of my own self do nothing. Father, be the ease here. You will often find that attention melts, appetite simplifies, a heaviness lifts, not because you worked on the body, but because you remembered who governs it. I am the Lord that healeth thee. Supply. 2. Rest today under authority. Do not bargain with fear. When a bill arrives or a price startles, turn within before you reach without. Give us this day our daily bread. Do not calculate first, acknowledge first. Watch how provision answers, not as windfall drama perhaps, but as quiet economies, a needed refund, a favor you did not expect to ask, a fresh idea that dissolves an expense. The multiplying is not in counting coins, it is in beholding substance as presence. And because we are proving, not admiring, choose one fear to lay down today and bear witness to the order that replaces it. Perhaps a cough worried you. You paused, listened, sipped water, stepped into the air, and peace flowed back where panic had perched. Perhaps a payment due pressed hard. You acknowledged the source, and before the afternoon ended, an overdue invoice was paid, or an extension offered. Perhaps the deadline that threatened to devour the day bowed to a single clear step, and the rest arranged itself like obedient servants. Write a single line in your notebook. 4:20 deadline loomed. Paused. One step given. Meeting moved. Work finished in peace. Not to claim power, oh no, but to glorify the doer. This is day 6. Walk softly in the awareness that life lives you. As attention abides in presence, life organizes itself without anxious oversight. Health, supply, and time find their true master. And in that governance, the shoulders drop, the jaw unclenches, and what once was driven begins to flow. Be still and know that I am God. Then rise and let that knowing carry your feet. Day 7 is not a finish line. It is a threshold. The place where the practice you have kept so tenderly all week yields to a presence that begins to move of itself. How do you know you are near this transition? Explain lessons. You find gratitude arising before you have named a reason. Guidance is felt like the turning of a bird mid-flight before a thought has formed to explain it. You discover that words present themselves in the self-same hour, and more often than not, you do not send them. They go. This is not your mastery. Oh no, this is the Father within, showing his mastery as the natural order of your affairs. Before they call, I will answer. And while they are yet speaking, I will hear. By transition, I do not mean a mystical fireworks display. I mean the quiet fact that truth begins to utter itself. We have acknowledged, paused, blessed, answered from silence, emptied, and walked under authority. Now we notice that prayer prays itself, that thanksgiving sings before the meal has reached the table. That peace arrives, and then the phone rings with resolution. I can of mine own self do nothing ceases to be a posture you adopt and becomes the ground you stand on without effort. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. And you know it, because the works appear where your managing has ceased. The wave has stopped pretending to be a separate force, and is letting the ocean be the power, the rhythm, the lift. All that the Father hath is mine is no longer a hope. It is a hush, a willingness to be carried by what already is. Today, then, we enact our surrender. Simple, practical, final for this week and beginning for the rest of our days. Loose it and let it go. Take these words into your heart and say them with a smile. Here, Father, you take all the health. You take all the supply. You take all the relationships. Govern. I loose them from my possession and let them be thine to express. I loose my reputation, my outcomes, my plans, my spiritual progress. If I go not away, the Comforter will not come to me. So I go away as owner, as manager, as fixer. Thou art the doer. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. We will verify this, not admire it, by a 10-minute surrender meditation before the day closes. Sit quietly and bring one burden into awareness, not the whole caravan, just the one camel that kneels heaviest at your door. Name it softly. This child, this payment, this pain, this decision. Then speak it upward. Here, Father, I loose it and let it go. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. For the space of 10 minutes, do not take it back. If the hand of mine grasps for it, open the fingers again. Here, Father. If a step is shown, call this person. Write this one sentence. Rest, let it be given. Do not manufacture it. Be still and know that I am God. When the minutes end, record a single witness. 8:10, surrendered the meeting. Heaviness lifted. Subject line arrived. Sent in peace. Not to prove a causation chain, oh no, but to honor the God who answers before we scramble. You will recognize transition by its fruit. There will be less arguing with appearances and more beholding of reality. Time will feel less like a taskmaster and more like a current that carries you. A phrase will come without hunt, fear not. It is I. And you will notice that the body loosens and the jaw drops before you have analyzed the reason. Needs will meet you as you move, not as freight to be dragged. The wind bloweth where it listeth. So is every one that is born of the Spirit. You cannot predict the form, but you will know the author by the unmistakable peace that clothes each appearance. And hear this. because it seals the weak. Release even your possession of truth. Stop managing your spirituality as if it were a garden you must weed every hour. Let truth tend itself in you. Loose it and let it go. Loose him and let him go, was the word spoken at a tomb. And a man bound in grave clothes walked free. So free your health from personal ownership. It is God's health appearing as wholeness. Free your money from personal claim. It is God's substance taking form as sufficiency. Free your dear ones from your grasp. They are God meeting himself in the language of affection. Where possession ends, grace governs unopposed. We do not abandon our rule of life. We let it be lived in us. Morning acknowledgement, hourly return, evening surrender. These continue, but they continue as breath, not as burden. It is no longer I that live, but Christ liveth in me. Let that be our benediction. From this day, consent to be carried. Keep your hands light upon the wheel. Keep your ear tuned to the gentle governance within. Loose it and let it go again and again until the going is complete and only grace remains, doing all things well. From this hour, we move from a week to a way. Do not add weight to what is simple. For 6 months, gently, tenderly, without strain, keep the same rhythm we have practiced. On waking, acknowledge I and the Father are one. At the turn of each hour, a quiet pause to behold the invisible. At day's end, a surrender of all outcomes into the Father's keeping. Do not expand, deepen. Roots go down before branches spread. Line upon line, precept upon precept. 6 months is not a sentence. It is a season in which the inner ear is trained. The tongue grows slower and the heart learns to be moved instead of moving itself. It is God which worketh in you, both to will and to do of his good pleasure. Let him work. Normalize ministry. Never refuse a call. Do not imagine that ministry is a platform or a title. It is the next small obedience met from silence. Your child's anxious question at the breakfast table first. Inwardly, peace be still. Then answer softly. An email heavy with confusion, do not counsel. Behold one mind, and let the sentence given in that selfsame hour go forth. A colleague's illness, lay aside the compulsion to fix. Acknowledge the one, life, indivisible, whole, and rest until peace registers. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Let today be full of such little obediences. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. Do not keep score. The fruit of this faithfulness is not applause. It is the quiet knowing that the Comforter is about his business. When dry spells come, and they do come even to prophets, do not accuse yourself of absence. Return to the basics that do not waver. Identity, hourly pause, gratitude. Whisper in the morning, I and the Father are one. At the hour, close the inner door for 60 seconds and behold what eyes cannot see. With each morsel, give thanks, not as charm, but as witness. Supply is presence in motion. Allow silence to ripen without hurry. Seed does not shout as it germinates. The earth keeps its counsel. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Dryness is not failure. It is winter doing its holy work, pushing the roots deeper into the aquifer. Keep the watch. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Learn to measure by peace, not fireworks. Do not ask for signs. Let harmony accumulate like dew. You will notice fewer emergencies and more timely adjustments, fewer arguments won and more quarrels that never quite ignite, bills that arrange themselves without drama. meetings that fall at the right hour, a body that asks and answers in gentleness. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Mark these quiet blessings in your notebook simply. 10:30 pause before call, tone softened, agreement found. 5:40 thanked over supper, rested instead of forcing, energy returned. These are the metrics of grace, the watermark of a life being lived rather than driven. Keep the rule of practice and the comforter will establish a life that lives itself by grace, not by your vigilance. Oh no, but by your consent. Morning acknowledgement will become breath. Hourly return a reflex. Evening surrender a smile you cannot help. Ministry will be the natural overflow of presence recognized. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. And you will look back not with pride, but with awe and confess, surely goodness and mercy have followed me all the days. And not unto us, O Lord, but unto thy name give glory. From this day, let us agree. Do not expand, deepen, never refuse a call. In dryness, return and wait, measure by peace. Keep the way, and the way himself will keep you.